and really good gentleman. And we can see many jokes and like that. I still remember we enjoyed those days, and really a wonderful person. And really, we are lucky actually that he is with us. Last time, because of his health condition, he could not be there, so we could manage somehow. And today we are here. We are really lucky, and I request every student actually who is there take the opportunity, ask the question, whatever it there, either within the whatever he talks there or other than that also, and take this opportunity benefit, because really this is like a rare situation. Nitin is with us, and it is to Nitin to continue. Please, Nitin.
Thank you so much, Santosh, for introducing me. And it reminds like our days back in before 20 years, and we really enjoyed our time. It was really like Guzra hua zamana aata nahi dobara katil kuta hamara. We always remember like all those things. We never forget till the end of our life. So I'll just continue. I'll just start sharing my screen now. The topic that we have now is technical skills and like say industrial requirements, like general practices to get into the industry. So if English is okay with all of you, I hope so. I'll continue with English. Like if anybody wants to have explanations in the other languages, you can just request me. So not an issue. We can have that also. And at any point of time, like say let us make this session as a interactive, not just a monologue kind of a thing. So what I would request, like if anyone, any member has any doubt at any point of time, please interrupt me. So let us get that doubt cleared at that moment itself. Don't hold it back. Please shoot at me. I'll try to answer all your questions. Okay, so I'll just start sharing my screen with you now, and once you see it, let me know. One second, please. You are able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second.
Yes, sir. It is visible. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Give me a moment, please. I think there is something happened. Pardon me, please. Please wait a minute. Now it's okay. You are able to see my screens?
Yes, Nitin.
Yeah. So I'll
Yes, sir.
continue with the core topic, that industry skills. Like now here, what I will explain you, like how the businesses are taking shape in the market, like how the industry is being set up. This might help you to see yourself where you fit in. Like we will discuss the number of the positions or the job descriptions or the requirement of the industry in a particular, like say job position, and what are their importance in the field, in the particular industry, and like also like the what are various skills that an individual has, like from the personality traits. So with respect to that, you will be able to place yourself where you would like to go. So that will give you a rough idea. And also like since we are into an alumni mode, like say you can anytime contact and we can just have a discussion also if you have any issues later on, any doubts later on. So I'll just start. Like say in an industry, there are three aspects. Like it's always a people, it's always a process, it's always a product. Like people are the means who will like work in the industry to get everything done. Like the process and the product are the non-living part, and they are like say they are given importance and they are being like say made alive by the people. Now process, once you have a process in place, then only you will be able to do a work. There is nothing like haphazardly, you cannot reach to any point. You have to have a proper planning, all the processes, all the everything is in place, should be in place, and then only you can reach to a point or a goal. Then another is a product. It gives you meaning, like why you are doing that particular activity, what is the end product, what is the end of that particular process, what is the end of the efforts that everybody is putting into place. So what is the outcome that becomes a product. And all these three P's, process, people, and product, they work in team. So you might have heard of one sentence from Ratan Tata. I don't know whether he has said it or not. Many social medias are like, say, pushing a lot of statements by many people that if you want to go alone, if you want to go very far, go alone, or something like that was there, right? Like, say, I don't remember exactly. If you want to go far, go together, something like that. So it resembles to that. Like if you work in teamwork, team form, to have each other's hand put in together, like people who are working in the external environment or in the internal environment, working on the process, then maybe internally or externally, working on the product internally or externally, but everybody has to hold their each other's hand, then only this cycle can run. That's the that's the crux of all the industries. Yes, there are exceptions, but 99% teamwork is required in every aspect. Now everything revolves around health and safety. Now there is nothing like, unless and until a people, like say a person is healthy and works in a safety and very, like say, keeping all the occupational health requirements, then only all these things can be possible. Otherwise, uh, no work is possible, no output can be gained out of any process if that process does not follow health and safety rules. Now, to moving forward, what is the first step that you identify in an industry? What is the purpose of the business? Now, purpose of the business, like maybe, like say, again, I take a example of Ratan Tata. Like there are some people who feels that they have a social responsibility towards the nation, to the people, to the society, or something like that. Most of the people come into kind of this kind of a business to earn name, to earn fame, and obviously money is an outcome of everything. And also, like say, out of money they get luxuries. Then there are some people who have ideas, and that they believe that the ideas can work, can come into a practical kind of an approach, and they can work, implement those things, and they can create a business model out of it. So those people come into a business form. You can see like a lot of startups coming with very let's say very vague idea, but that are useful in the industry, that are useful in the particular sector, segment of the industry, and they are being successful also. Like taken classic example of Oyo hotel chain. Like he doesn't own a single room, a single square foot of area in anywhere, but still that young chap, is a youngest billionaire. He's been treated as a youngest billionaire. So that kind of idea we have to implement. So those people come also in the business form. Some people have a risk appetite, so they always want to be in a discomfort zone. They never wants to be in a, like say, kind of a I'm talking about the ownership, like who owns this business. Those owners have this kind of some sort of like say qualities. So they are always, like say, looking for something which is uncommon. So all those people come into kind of this kind of a businesses. Then those people always be on the toes, and all those different reasons are also there, but these are the main reasons why the people want to come into business. Now there, like say, whosoever comes into business, they would have to get into the market, like whether it is an idea, whether whatever that may be. Then they will have to go into the market and see what kind of product that we can do a business with, what are the requirements in the market, who are all the competitors there, what are the price levels, who are all the customers there who would buy the product, what are the different market segments. And after doing everything, what is there for me, like what I am going to get out of it, and how do I do it. So everything, all those questions and planning should be in place before getting into any kind of an activity, because it's all risk taking. Once you are in, you cannot come out, because all those kind of investment of time, money, all those efforts should be taken ahead to come to a result. At least maybe, like say, to teach you a lesson. I won't call it as a failure, but it will teach you a lesson, like how do you do it next time. So this kind of market analysis also should come in picture when you are doing a business. Then once you do everything, then you are ready with your concept, that what you would do, like an idea. Then once your idea is in place, then you come to a design kind of a thing, like how do I do that? If a product is there, what are its drawing, what are its prototype, how do it look like, what are the dimensions, what are the market requirements, then the technical requirements. Then you come to your design room to form it, to make, like say, what are the testings required, all those things on the paperwork side, planning kind of a thing, that would be done in the design format. And also based on design, how do you operate it? Now in raw industrial terms, they are called as research and development. Like research on the marketing side, as I told you, is a market analysis, but research and development is mainly used as a technical term, like wherein you would do a proper kind of a development of a product in the laboratory or in the technology center, wherein you would give a proper shape to that product. How does it look like, maybe in the 3D form, and then you would try to meet these specifications which are there specified while you do the market analysis. And then you would try to see like what are the testings required and what are the different variants into it. So all those activities are done into research and development. Now then once you do it, you have to engineer it, because once, like say, iPhone is made, but iPhone is made with an hardware. So what to do with respect to different countries, with respect to different kind of market segment, like a teenager market segment, adult market segment, like all those kind of different requirements in that hardware, how do we match it, how do we customize it, that is called as the engineering part. And then how do you produce it? Produce it means like how do you productionize it, how do you set up a factory, how do you manufacture that particular product, how to implement all these kind of processes, what design, research and design team have implemented, how to implement all these engineering kind of an activities into on the ground levels to manufacture it. All these things come into this kind of activities majorly. Then R&D, as I told you, R&D is actually, like I have seen many people in throughout my career, like whosoever comes as a fresher and joins industry, they always feel R&D is the only, like say, field wherein they would want to join. Like their all interest lies into engineering and research and development, or getting into a core field. Is it right? Like not an issue, like you can join that, but there are different aspects. That's why I'm just explaining you here that not only industry does not run only on one department. It is people, process and product. So the product calls for R&D also. People, they are into marketing, supply chain, manufacturing. Various other fields are there which are equally important in an industry, not only one. So being an engineer, you should see how do you contribute based on your skills. Like education actually gives you a perspective in which like you should look wider into the world, and not to confine, not to, like say, uh, put on only a spectacle wherein like you are an electrical engineer and you should look only into the electricity part, or you should only work in an the development of an electricity. Okay, fine, development of an electricity, but in that development there can be different aspects. You can also contribute yourself based on your skills. Now once you are into an R&D skills, there are some people who can match here. I'll show you some of the personality behavior kind of traits which can fit into this kind of things, who are very investigative, who are very intuitive, who are very, like say, kind of a inventive kind of a thing. Like there are concepts, then what people do over here, they do core planning. How do we design it, how are the prototypes are made, how is the process, how is each component, its dimension, its quality of material, how the advancement in the variations of the different products that are to be made in this particular field, in the particular product, which are the non-standard developments. And like say over a period of time, you should not stick to only one product. Like there is a classic story that Nokia had one product, and when the smartphone industry came in picture, they did not cope up to that. They stick to their own designs. But when there is an evolution in the industry, if you stick to your old designs, you tend to die down. So Nokia had a lot of bad times. But if you see the on the contrary, like Samsung, every 6 months down the line they have a new product line ready. iPhone also, like every 6 months down the line they have different phones, different like say gadgets coming up. So all these non-standard development also, in addition to that, invention should come into picture with R&D, with the specific requirements, with the specific inventions that should accommodate in the product. Then again, on top of that, when you do everything, excuse me, you should look into the cost. How do you reduce that particular cost? Because in a market, you are not the only one, or iPhone is not the only one who would sell the phone, or Samsung is not the only one. There are local players, there are regional players, there are global players also. So all these people, there is a race that they would want to sell more and more. So they would want to do more and more revenue. People should buy their product, and cost is the major factor in which, like say, which plays an important role all this kind of a business. So if your material cost is less, and if you're able to do a proper sale in the market, you are able to earn your more money. Now all these kind of activities are done in major activities are done in R&D. Now this is one field. Research and development is the core and main field, main department in any industry. Other than that is an engineering, this engineering is actually is been seen, like say, as an additional part of project management or an execution department in a industry also, which works actually on a specific customer requirement. They are into a continuous coordination between the project management, supply chain, and also with R&D, because all these kind of like specific requirements on a constructional part, you need to have a definite view, like whether it meets the standards what are specified into, like say, maybe IS standard or IEC standard, or whichever market you get into. Like if you go into Russian market, then there are different standards. China, there are different standards. If you go into America, there are ANSI standards for the electrical field. So you have to see, like when you are changing any of the product specifications. Now if you are changing the format of the product, whether that format of the product with respect to that customer meets that particular standard. So all these kind of activities, testings, and everything is in coordination with the R&D and also with the project management. So this particular team works specifically on the customer specific requirements. So this is one department which is there, and other is a production. Now here I'm like say, what I'm trying to tell you, like how the industry works here. You might be knowing this, but we will get into the nitty-gritties how an individual can fit into this. Now this production is a very big department, wherein like you have a lot of manpower to manage. Like say there are many, like say in here, like once you set up a process, how do you manufacture a product? So which all machineries are required? What should be a factory layout? Where all you will keep your raw materials? How do you route your assembly line? How do you route your manufacturing assembly line in a proper way, so that your, like say, stations are managed in such a way that there is a proper safety guidelines are followed. If any hazard happens, how an assembly point can be reached by all the people they are working inside that particular premise. And also, how do I manage like when I employ my own people, now all the manufacturing or production which is done in the factory, they are not done by their own payroll kind of employees who are on the roll in the company. Some of the sub supplier requirements are also there. So sub supplier manpower needs to be deployed. How we will manage those things? How do we manage the labor issues? How safety requirements, union issues, statutory compliances, all those things comes into picture. So all these kind of activities are followed into a kind of a production department. And this is very important department wherein like you have to have a lot of planning, like which product would you manufacture in which line, how much would be its quantity. You would give a forecasting to the management, then you would give forecasting to the back. You would have all the reverse engineering kind of an activity also. You would tell supply chain how much material I would need for manufacturing all these equipments. So the supply chain will also have a reverse engineering to work with their own suppliers. How do I manage all those raw materials required for the production? So it's a very kind of a wide kind of a field or a profile in the company, wherein like you would get an idea of man management, material management, and also like say managing a product manufacturing, complete manufacturing process you would get here. Then another department which is there is a supply chain materials. Like a product is not manufactured on its own. You need to have some sort of material for that. So the routine activities like say nut bolts and all those things which are mandatory for a product to manufacture, they are managed by a routine supply chain management team. There are actually three departments in this supply chain: a routine supply chain, a strategic supply chain, and a supplier quality. Now routine supply chain, as I just explained you, they are into a common purchases which are mandatory. Like if I manufacture PC, now PC would have a screen would be required in every PC. So that screen management, if I am going to manufacture 100 PCs in a month, I should have 200 screens in my stock. So that 100 would go, then another 100 would be there, then I will have to pump another 100 into it. So minimum MOQ, minimum quantity requirement as an inventory should be maintained by these routine supply chain people. Then there is a strategic thing. Now strategic means what? A project is there, a specific project is there. So for that, what costing should be? So for that particular costing, reverse engineering is done, and that particular team works with each supplier or each non-standard or strategic, because in the materials also there are different types of materials. One is a regular material, one is a strategic material. So all this regular material is done by these routine people. Even when there is a specific project requirement, these routine material purchases are also taken into strategic material scheme for that particular project, and it is negotiated with those people. So that negotiation is happened by this strategic supply chain team. And there are some material which are strategic material, like take an example of PC. Now the strategic material like a hard disk or a processor, these are strategic material. These are not like manufactured by anybody. Like there are 2-3 people only, like say I know Intel and I think some Amdoc, something is there, right? So these are the processor managers, these are the strategic materials. So once you have a requirement of, like say, take an example of Wipro buying 10,000 PC, you are quoting for that. So you should go back to the screen manufacturer, keyboard manufacturer, and the hard disk or a processor manufacturer strategically. I'm going to quote our team is going to quote for 1,000 PCs. So you will get like on one short order of 10,000 processors, hard disk with all those regular suppliers, and you should negotiate with them for the best price so that you can quote to them. So all these strategies from the supply chain point of view is managed by the strategic supply chain team. Third is supplier quality. Now, like you are not going to take the product in whatsoever format which a supplier manufacture and take inside your inventory and assemble it with your product. you have to see that the supplier manufactures either a component, raw material, which is by the guidelines with the specific materials and the specific process specified by their R&D team, because R&D team gives the guideline how the material composition, its dimension, and its testing should be. So all those testing should be done for all the materials. And even if some suppliers are there, like take an example, I'm not able to manufacture that particular PC on my own. Like my manufacturing facility is only for 5,000, and I have an order of another 5,000. So what I would do, I would go to a sub supplier and I will ask them, this is my process, this is my suppliers for the components, and you manufacture it as per my requirement. I will depute some of my supplier quality people at your place, and you manufacture a finished product. That product will come to my place, I will brand it on my own, and then I will sell it. So 5,000 I will manage it, 5,000 you manage it for me, and ultimately it will come to my factory. But once these outsourced finished products are branded on your name, you should ensure that it is manufactured as per your quality. The way you manufacture in your factory, it has to be manufactured by any other supplier. So that responsibility is given to the supplier quality team. So they have to ensure the nitty-gritties of and the compliance of all the process, whatsoever it may be. Maybe it's a material combination, it's a color, it's a testing. All these things should be adhered, should be complied by the supplier. So that is the job of a supplier quality team. Another is the specific quality. Now this particular quality team works in combination with the supplier quality also. But this particular quality team is like say focusing on the work in process. Like there are again like say three teams are here, like in process quality, then finished good quality, and after sales service. Now in process it's like you have combined, like say take an example of again PC, like you have combined monitor screen with the laptop keypad. Now how the connections are made, like these engagements, who will ensure that these are done in the factory properly? So this is in process quality, component assembly, manufacturing process adherence as per again the guidelines given by the research and development team. So all those things should be adhered by the component assembly level in the factory. Then again is a finished product. Once a product is done, I hope like say all of you, I presume that would be an electrical engineer, so I'll start now giving an electrical examples. Like if a circuit breaker, once it is manufactured and it is to be it is manufactured as per customer's requirement and it is finished. Now how do I ensure that that product is a finished product? It has to undergo in process check. In additionally, it has to undergo a standard routine test specified by IEC or IS. So the IAC and IS, whatever tests are being specified, those are conducted on that product on a routine basis. 100% product has to be tested for the routine test, because all this product at the conceptual stage, when R&D prepares a prototype, it is getting type tested. Type tested means a routine test as well as some sort of a descriptive test, which actually revolves around the reliability, availability, and the safety of that particular product with respect to the human intervention in that particular premises. So once that product is tested for the even like hazard, for the destructive test, it is complying all the kind of different parameters, then only you can take that particular product for productionizing it. And after you start productionizing, you should not change any of the component in that particular product. Otherwise, it will violate that type testing done as per that particular IEC. So any product which is type tested has to be manufactured in the same form. Yeah, customization is a different part. Like one person wears blue shirt, the other person wears a white shirt, that's okay, not an issue. It can be having a different wiring which doesn't actually affect the performance of the product, that's okay. But the prima facie, the structure of the product should comply to the type tested product. So that particular testing is handled by finished goods department, the quality department, testing department. They call it as a testing department. Now this testing department also encounters like say customer inspections. The customer comes and they inspect it, and then they witness the test and they clear it. So another service department which is present is the after sales service. Like once the product goes at site, now we also know that nothing is perfect. Like uh, even an individual, like we have to improve upon. So whatever we experience, we see that these are the voids, these are the some of the gaps in my knowledge or my behavior, something like that, in the thought process. So we improve upon, like when you mature and you improve upon the same way, this process happens at the product level also. So these products, when it is installed at site, there is one saying in the industry, whatsoever those industry big is, like say take an example of ABB or Siemens in electrical form, they are big companies. But these companies are big not only by their name, not only because their name is big, not because the people working there is a big, it is because their product are sold in the market, installed there, and they are working fine. That's why the products are developed by the companies are working well at site. They, because of that those companies are big, not by the people, not by the value or the brand name or their capitalization, or they have big factories, not by that. So the in industry there is a saying that if you want to test the quality of a company, test the quality of their product at site. If it works there well, company is good. Okay, so when the product goes at site, there might be some issue, like there like say there might be some defect in the manufacturing which quality would not have, like say encountered that point, and they would have cleared it. So at some point of time it encountered at the site that there are some issues at the site at the installation. Mechanical issues might be there might be technical issues, and there can be, like say, a product failed at site because of some issue. So this team after sales service goes at site, they test the product, they check the product, and they come up with a report, like they call it as kappa report, like say corrective action and preventive actions kind of a thing. Now once these reports or root cause analysis of the failure, whether it is a mechanical or an electrical, whatever that may be. So once these reports received from site, maybe 12 months of after installation, maybe immediately, maybe 2 years after down the line, or 5 years down the line, these all reports are given back to the R&D. So the cycle which I showed you in the first slide, it revolves continuously. The feedbacks from the site comes back to the R&D. R&D looks into it, improves the design, again goes for the testing, again those implementations are given to the factory to improve upon. So this is all a continuous process. That is why the human, the people who are instrument into this, into quantifying and qualifying all these kind of aspects of all these product processes are very important. Okay, so this is about quality. Then the core field here, like say whatever you manufacture has to be sold. You're not doing anything in the factory just for the fun, like, yeah, I want to manufacture a product. It is not a fun, like you are employing, you are buying a land or renting a land, erecting a factory, putting up machinery, employing people over there, manufacturing it, buying, like engaging sub suppliers for that. You have to pay to the sub suppliers, you have a land rent or whatnot, all those things are involved into it. So for what you are doing it, you are not manufacturing product and just showcasing it. You have to market in the market it into the open require, like say, customer base, and also you have to sell it. Then when you sell it, then only you will be able to bill it, and then only you will be able to get the money, and then you will be able to pay all your like say your labor cost, your supplier payments, and all those things. So all these back calculations are actually depending on how do you market that particular product. Now there are various aspects in marketing also. Like there is a first party strategy, like what we have seen in the market analysis in the second slide. The same thing applies over here, and that too continuously, because no market remains same anytime. Like Siemens and ABB, they are working in one product, there might be a sudden change if Crompton comes into that product. There can be a sudden change if some other product can come into that product. There can be a sudden change, that product may get the absolute because of some reason. So you have to continuously vouch for who is doing what, how customers are behaving, how the environmental parameters, how the business parameters are changing, and with respect to that, how it is going to change your own factory, own business. So all these things comes into a strategic part. So this, there is always one or two people or three people team who will always be in the market, or always be watching on all the research, doing all the research of the market with respect to product, with respect to customers, competitors, market segment, all the like say different political, socio-political requirements and their changes. All these things are like say analyzed, and the feedback is given to the management. Now the management, there is a part like say product management. Now this is the team, like there might be a 1 or 2% team. This team owns the product technically. It's an interface between the marketing strategy and with the R&D. Now this product management team actually specifies over a period of time what all changes and what all cost requirements are there in the market, and how do we go about on the product. So these are this department sets the guideline for research and development over a period of time, based on the strategic input from the strategy team, based on their own inputs, or based on the regular business inputs. So all these kind of activities are done by product management. And the product management, the activities which are being suggested has to be, they are all qualitative, but has to be quantify also. Like if I want to do some change in the product, it has to quantify that after doing this change, how much market would I get, how much margin would I earn. So all this kind of like say thesis, commercial thesis along with technical backup has to be done by product management team, and they will do it with the help of marketing and strategy team. Now there is another department in the marketing, that is business development or product prescription. Now why do we people or customer buy our product? Now we have to generate an urge for that. Like say take an example like Shah Rukh Khan doing a Lux soap ad, and he is urging people, like say creating a need, like you are using soap, not an issue, but use Lux, something like that. Yeah, I'm just correlating it. So this particular department will go to the customers to specify, this is my product, these are its feature, these are its USPs, like unique selling propositions, how it is going to benefit your particular process, how it is going to give you like say more commercial benefits also. So customer would try to see that it will specify your product into his specification, and once the specifications are out, you would be at a better position to quote that particular product. So all this product prescription and the business development activity is done by a team for a product. So these are the different teams I am telling you. And there is another team by the name marketing. This marketing and sales is actually a bit of a jumbled team, jumbled kind of a thing, because marketing is more of a communication, more of an advertising, more of a seminar, webinar kind of a things. So business development and marketing actually goes hand in hand. So there can be one team for both the activities also. Now sales is like is purely a sale kind of a thing. Like take an example, MEC TCL, they have a requirement and we have sold them some product which is there, and this has been dispatched. So all these sales kind of activities are handled by specific people into a sales department. Then there is a sales support. Sales support are generally people who are working in the factory, and they assist sales people to prepare some sort of a technical proposals or a commercial proposal, so that sales will engage more customer into a process, and sales support will do some sort of a paperwork, like say creating an offer, creating a data sheet, creating, like say, some sort of commercial aspects, getting into, like say, commercial, analyzing the commercial liabilities. What are the technical hitches in that particular project? How to decide the commercial terms and conditions? What are the, like say, competitions in that particular process? What should be the price level we should quote? uh, how do we get the approval from the management? How do we do the risk review with respect to legal and also with respect to commercial? All these kind of activities are done by sales support, so that the sales people who are there in the field are relaxed and they engage with more customers, so as to create more kind of a personal rapport with them. And also, like salespeople are responsible for orders also, and also this whole of the department, they are responsible for top line and the bottom line. Now, what is top line? Top line is a revenue. Any company who would release their, like say, results quarterly, half yearly, or yearly, you will see, this particular company did revenue of this much of crores, so that is the top line. Then there is a bottom line. What is the net margin that you have earned out of that? There are different terms into it, ebitda and all those things are there, like we don't have to get into that kind of details, but how much margin I have earned. So all these margin and like a top line has to be, like say, these are the targets for the marketing people, and based on these targets, there are different targets which are given to the project management team. Different targets are given to the sales production team. How do he manages his particular manufacturing? All these things are required, down the line are getting split up. Then there is another team which supports, as I told you, like there is one engineering team. It is actually called as a project management or an execution and engineering team, who actually takes order from the sales and behave like becomes an interface between customer and the factory. Because customer set some guideline that I need this particular product in 3 months time, then if I have to make that 3 months time, in 3 months time, how do I back calculate with respect to all the sub supplied items, all the non-standard items, which there would be some sort of a new development would be required. All those things, back calculations and project management is done by this particular department. So this particular department actually does a complete manufacturing, like uh, give a complete view of the manufacturing to the customer, and does all kind of like say, project management with respect to technical as well as commercial. Now there is a very important factor, two important factors are involved into it: getting drawings approval for the capital goods. Like say, what are the customers requirement? Do those customer requirement, those has to be precisely understood with respect to our specifications that we manufacture for the product, from sales department. Then getting all these specifications are converting into a drawings. That too, the drawings for the product which customers require and which we manufacture, and if there are any deviations to that, that has to be clearly mentioned into it. Those has to be discussed with customer, agree with customer. Actually sales has to agree before doing a contract, and project management would continue from that point. So those has to be, again, those drawings. Contract is a verbal document, but drawings is a particularly manufacturing agreement between the supplier and the customer. So those drawings will be getting, project management will get approval from the customer side, and those drawings will be given to manufacturer, to the manufacturing unit or the production unit to manufacture it. So all these kind of activities project management does. Second, the most important activity is getting the project done in timeline, so that we do not land up into any liquidated damages. Those are the heavy costs to the company. So if we do not land in the timelines of the customers which they have given, so we will be ended into the liquidated damages. So project management has to be very, like say, meticulous about all the planning, and it's his communication with the customer that these are all the issues we are facing, and this would be the delay, and get the concurrence from the customer that please, uh, like say, give us these delivery extensions so that we do not land into a liquidated damages kind of a condition. In the same contract, getting the product done, ready, and dispatch it, and get the payment in time from the customer based on the payment terms that has been decided by the sales. So all those money which is received becomes the bottom line of the particular business for what we are doing it. Okay, so getting money from the customers is the basic aim for all our deliverables, against all our deliverables. Okay, so this is one department. Another is finance. Now this is all like everything has to be managed with figures. So all this project realization, at what cost the project was taken, after it got realized, at what was the cost of that, and what was the, like, which customer paid us, what was the margin, what was our overheads over a period of time, how they are rising, what not, all those kind of statutory approvals, invoices, all those are done by the finance teams. And then dispatch. Now dispatch team is also, there is a proper team available who will arrange trucks, all those requirements of LR copies, all those things are managed by dispatch team. Then energy, engineering excellence, then there would be one department which would continuously develop the process factory layout based on the different concepts that emerge in the industry, based on the consultancy work which are shown by the different big organizations and all those things like KPMG and all those people. So they would always see that how do we see that the factory layouts done are properly, like say, they save our man hour. We benchmark the best practices, we benchmark the best process so that our capex, our operational cost get reduced into that. Then another departments would be human resource departments and an administration. Now human resource, you all know that they recruit the people, and they will try to see that all the people, and the administration also work in tandem with them, that all the setup in the industry is proper. So all those things are there. So, and here, up till this point, anybody has any question? Now I have spoken a lot, and nobody has asked anything till this point. So I hope you would have understood, or if not understood, please ask me any questions, like if any doubt you have.
They can ask now.
Okay. Hello? Yeah, I could not get you, Ketan.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. One have any doubts, they can ask now. Okay. This is the chance for you.
Yeah. See here, after this slide, like I'll just show you, like there are what I have seen, like after too much of, like say, interaction with all the GTs which are joining the company. Maybe, like say, I had an opportunity to be a, like say, short-term mentor to some of the graduate trainees from IITs also, and some of the NITs also. So like when these trainees join, they always have some sort of passion, like say they want to work with engineering. But as I told you, like engineering is not the only field in this particular whole of these things. Like everything is important. You cannot, like say, take one department out and that's the only crux of the particular industry. It is not happening that way. Like these are, like say, I have seen, like when human resource company human research department used to give presentations, they would always see, like there are different personalities of any individual. Like some personalities are realistic, they work practically based on the process, and they have the mechanical competencies, interaction with machine tools and objects. This is a definition given. These people are realistic, like they believe in the kind of a targets, practical process. Some people are investigative, like like a child, like he would always want to see why we are doing the things. They are quite analytical, statistical, they go into technical depth, they want to get into a scientific theory, why these are done. They want to discuss that thing, all those things. These people are investigative. Some people are artistics, like if a dress is made in a one format, how do I make it in a different form? Like all these things, like innovative creative ideas. Some people have that kind of a behavior. Some people are social, like say, now how do, like an individual would have, individual is a it's a combination of two, three, or maybe more than that of all these qualities. So based on that, you have to really identify yourself. Where do you fit? Like some people are quite social. Like as I told you, some production department, investigative department would be very much suited for R&D department. If somebody is artistic, innovative, they can be good in R&D as well as in sales and marketing. If you are a social, interpersonal relationship, you want to do, you want to, like say, benchmark on those kind of things. Like, and some people are very good in gelling with others. Like they, when they come to like say in a group, whole group listens to them. So those people are very good for leadership kind of activities, very good for, like say, production kind of an activities, because those are the people who drives by their only words and by their relationship, whole mob they drive. Some people are enterprising. Enterprising is like they venture into new kind of like say activities. They try to get into like say, they do not want to live into a comfort zone kind of a thing. They always want to be on their toes. They want to run. They want to do something new. Like a flowing water is like is like everybody drinks it. If a stagnant water, is stinks. Like that's the usual phrase. So these people are falling into this kind of, like they want to do something new. Now there is another behavior is conventional. They are into a routine job. Like they are good for following the process which is led by a company, which is led by any organization, or they have understood that I live like this, then it will be good for me. So those are the conventional people. So there might be different kind of a behavior, kind of an aspects of this kind of qualities in each one of you. So depending on that, you would see yourself where you would fit into it. Not necessary engineer has to work into an engineering field. I'm since last 21, 22 years, I'm working into marketing, product management, business development, engineering also. I worked in engineering also and in execution also. But I found that marketing is such a lucrative field. You are always visible. The visibility is more. But yes, like it is what I am made of, and I have chosen this particular field because I know that I am good into this. But not necessarily all people are good for this particular job. There might be, as I told you, like I was given some IITs and NITs fellow. They always had a passion to get into the engineering field. But and in that, what happens, you get into a frustration because you want to get into this and get into the other field, and you are actually working into the other field. But you have to really see where you what are you, like where are you fitting in the whole process. Then you can vouch for that and you can get into that. So again, like I always say one thing, like whatever we always think of, like say, what will others say, something kind of a thing. So you don't have to get into that, and just see which qualities do you have and which job profile you fit into. Any questions? Sorry, I am only talking actually. Any questions from anyone? Any doubts?
Sir, I have one question. Sir,
Yes, Ketan.
sir, what is QA? Is the assurance quality or the
Quality
quality
assurance.
control team? Yeah, sir.
Yeah, it is the same department which I just explained. Like say it controls the quality, it checks the quality which are the products or the components manufactured by the sub supplier when it comes to our factory as an inventory in the factory. And once we ourselves manufacture the product, so in process quality, how the assemblies are done, so that is also quality control. Once the finished product is done, how it is made, does it pass the test, all those things. This is called as quality assurance. It is not one job or one station wherein these people will work. There are different steps, different like say different kind of stops in which these people work. Very important team, very important team. I hope I answered your question, Ketan. Anybody?
May I add to Ketan's question actually? Uh, Nitin, may I add to Ketan's question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Ketan, you asked a very fantastic question actually. See, quality control, quality assurance, these are various stages of assessing the quality. The testing to the specification or the requirement is called the inspection, okay, which is a very basic level. Then quality control means you have to control the quality. It is one stage above of the inspection. So in addition to quality inspection, you are making a system actually wherein the quality is controlled. Like in addition to the regular testing parameters, there you have the controlling methodology. There are few tools of quality control that we classically call 7QC tools. In that, Deming chart is there, then Ichikawa diagram is there. All those things are there, wherein the already when Nitin has explained CAPA, that is corrective action, preventive action. All those sort of things are taken care so that you are continuously monitoring the qualities and it is not going out of the means out of runaway situation is not available. And as regards to quality assurance, it is also one stage above the quality control. Quality assurance, what is there? Quality control in quality assurance, you have quality control also as well as, but you have certain stages of methodology of auditing, so that the three things that is a product audit, system audit, process audit. These three audits are involved in the quality assurance, and in by doing those three audits, what it is said that you are monitoring the system which is capable to produce a quality product continuously. Okay, and actually one more stage is there above quality assurance, that is the regulator. Of course, that is out of context, and I could say all this because I'm working in a regulatory organization. Okay,
Yeah.
I hope whatever Nitin has told is really correct. Actually, I have just added to your domain of knowledge these things, and it will be useful to you. Okay, thank
You're
you.
right, Santosh. I really missed that point. Sorry to interrupt you, but I really missed that point of audit, because audit is a process, what rightly Santosh told. Like, there is a proper process in placed in industry that everything is audited, like whether everybody works as per the process. So the marketing, their documentation, engineering, their processes are done properly or not. Whether supply chain is working as per the guidelines given, manufacturing, quality, every process is audited once in a year, uh, as a mandatory part of ISO also. And every big organizations, they have their internal auditing process, so that before going to an external auditor, you have to ensure first that all these things are made in line. So if any discrepancies are there, those are highlighted and the corrective actions are taken. And once the external auditor comes, you are having minimum discrepancies over there, observations. So rightly Santosh told, like, everybody is audited. Nobody is free, like say, like nobody can be above the law. What is being stated by an organization process, so I cannot go and invent something new. I have to follow that process because it is set. It is a mandatory and it is been documented as a part of a company organizational document.
Sir, I was not able to give formal introduction in the meeting, and I am very sorry for that. Uh, uh, sir, sir, I
No
would
issue.
like to give the formal introduction of our today's speaker now. So, uh, s- Mr. Nitin Ramesh Mahajan had a startup and entrepreneur and earned an excellent name in MV Switchgear services and did flawless execution of business of more than 1.6 MUSD with ABB. They had 21 years of successful career with diverse roles distinguished by commendable performance in marketing and sales, strategy and operation and project management, product and service management. Key expertise in the sales and approach and innovation and years of experience handling own startup for products and manufacturing and services. Top level strategy and operation and project product service management, marketing, sales. These are the roles sir, are taken and BD competent executive with a proven record of exceeding profitability goals, setting setting startup and driving units to increase revenue and market share. Sir is highly energetic, never lived in the comfortable zone, vibrant and seek challenges and love to build friendly teams. So this is the introduction of our today's speaker. Sir,
Sorry,
uh,
Ketan, these are all like part of my resume. Thank you for saying all these things, but okay, fine. Like you have to like say portray yourself in a good way. That's why I mentioned these all things in my resume. But nevertheless, thank you for introducing me. And okay, fine. These are all things like there as a part of professional career.
sir, and without wasting much of the time, I would like to call Jagruti Khatal for vote of thanks. She will give the vote of thanks. Yeah.
So, sir, actually, there is a question in chat box.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, I will quote the question. Sir, from your perspective, in which department any fresher should start to work so that he will end up good position in an organization?
Yeah, this is also a very nice and a tricky question. Like, see, there are, what I feel is, there are two departments which would take you really into a, like, say, in my perspective, it's my view, like Santosh can also guide into that. See, what I have seen over a period of time, one is the manufacturing process, because manufacturing process wherein able to manage manpower, large amount of manpower, you're managing it right from the workmanship level to the managerial level. All those peoples report to you and you are managing different facets of the process, like manufacturing is there, quality is there, inventory is there. So 360 view of product manufacturing process is that knowledge you get. Then after that, the next step is finance, like the business unit, how business unit runs. So this business unit with respect to finance, like profitability, ledger accounts, profit and loss, all those things you are able to manage with that. So once you are into production, then it is easy for you to manage the business unit commercially, technically, okay, using the management skills. So based on that, like you will be able to grow more, because they're the one who handles the larger scope of the manpower and as well as the different roles. So that particular field is quite visible in a big organizations and you are able to grow. And in addition to that, you have to have a very, it's a risky position also, it is not that easy, because if you are dealing hundreds of people and you have to have a good relation, good leadership and good communication, that you should not, like say, get into a verbal spat with anyone. So that may create some kind of and also like you have to have a good decency, good kind of a, like say, autocratic also sometimes to get an output from all those people. So it's a tricky position also, and but it's a easy position to to climb the ladder in the organization. Another position which I feel like, which I have experienced that myself, is a marketing field, because here you have a high external as well as internal visibility, because production team will have only internal visibility. Marketing, the whole of the customer base know you. You own those particular customers, and you have a, because in whole business the commercial discussion is done for maybe like say Hansal, 10 minutes, but to get that 10 minutes to decide every all the contract in 10 minutes, you have to spend before the contract maybe years of relationship, and after the contract maybe years of relationship. So that relationship matters. So marketing team has a very high customer visibility. Customers also recommend you. On top of that, since you are getting order for the company, for because of which company runs, so management also look at you as an instrumental part. So that gives the breathing space for an organization. Marketing team is a breathing, like a lungs for an organization, you can say. So that these are the two fields which are very eminent, like say if you want to grow. And yes, fields are there, but in that, how do you place yourself, how do you make yourself visible, coping with all the things, because there is no free lunch. So there are huge targets, huge pressure, a lot of things would be there. So over a period of time, you would experience that. So no, there is no free lunch. You have to work very hard. Santosh has reached to that position. Like it doesn't mean that in 20, 22 years you can easily go to that place. There are a lot of hard work placed into that. A lot of pressure, like say bearing capability is there. Sustenance is there. So only after that you can reach to that particular place. I hope I answered your question.
Rightly said, Nitin. I just supplement whatever his views. Of course, whatever field Nitin has worked and I have worked 22 years, uh, almost 22 years, and Nitin has worked last 22 years. Our fields are entirely different, actually. I work in the government setup, and we need to prove ourselves, actually, and we have to be hard working. As actually in Nitin's presentation, there was one slide in which he gave detail actually what are the artifact of every individual. He need to identify actually what is his strength actually, and what is his weaknesses, and what are the opportunities available, and what are the threats. So all those SWOT analysis, if anybody is working, he can better fit himself to that particular position. And any position, it is not a bad actually. How you take up that particular position to in a positive manner, that is very important. Okay.
Yeah.
You cannot invent a bulb actually immediately. You have to work it. Okay. You have to struggle it. You have to get the things done by hook and crook, by so much of means. Okay. So the hard work is very important. And since we were also student of Batu, like you all people, and the Batu's land actually, it has Batu's what do we say, वहाँ की बिट्टी एक्चुअली हमको सिखाती है कि हार्ड वर्क क्या है और कैसे करना है, ठीक है? So you all have the stuff, and only thing how you channelize that particular energy in a positive manner, that is very, very important.
Yes.
So I think this is fine. And the slide what Nitin has shown, that was an excellent slide. I took screenshot also of the slide.
I'll
So,
share with you, not an issue.
yeah, no, I have taken the screenshot and I shared in my WhatsApp group also. So where really what is the artifact of every individual, that identification by the individual itself is very important. and he or she may have a combination of that characters, and based on that, he can take it. Okay. I hope Rahul, the mine is a very generalized statement. Nitin has given a proper statement.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
but
Definitely.
it answers in totality. Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions from anyone that they would like to ask?
I have one question from my dear friend Nitin. Yeah, I have heard a lot of things. Actually, of course, I am seeing you after 20 years, and you have achieved pinnacle, and still our all best wishes are there. Dude, how actually our student can join you, or can uh, can take a benefit from you by research or taking some project, or how you can guide them actually wherever
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, like here I can really contribute, like, yeah, you have started, like, to be very sorry that I did not contribute till the time anything in this particular forum, and thanks to Santosh and all others who are actively engaging into this. Yeah, now to actively contributing, see, I am currently into an electrical field, uh, and I am working into a technology which is only with us, which is going to shift the, like, say, 180-degree shift into the power system control, protection, and monitoring system. It's completely 180-degree shift. So here, what I can do, I can at least take some of the colleagues from the research team, like, say, who are pursuing MTech or maybe PhD, to see certain installations at site and get them an idea, or what my UK company would deploy over here. So how these different power system analysis, uh, or the fault finding, or different kind of analytics or data science kind of a concepts that we use here, so that they will also get some idea in their maybe MTech or maybe PhD field, and we can also engage their work with my parent team, because more than 90% people are PhD holders over there in University of Sackler. So we can also see like how best we can extract from there also. And if some people can contribute in those fields, I can also recommend them. So let's say, because it's completely new, this particular field is completely new in Europe itself. So I'm trying to put it in India, because it's completely green technology. So over a period of time, maybe like, say, this year end, there would be some sort of installations placed in Mumbai, Tata Power, which would be near to our colleagues also. So there I can take some of the good colleagues of us, juniors of us, and do that kind of thing. Then maybe once the organization is properly set up, then I will seriously look into kind of hiring some colleagues from our college, because it's completely a technical field, as Santosh already know about these things.
Yeah, Nitin, for everybody's knowledge, can you share the actually that your companies, that some brief you what you shared? I was really fascinated to see that one. Of course, being a chemical engineer, I could not understood many of the things, but really it was fascinating. If you can share for everybody's knowledge, so what is that? Because the green technology and completely 180-degree shift in the traditional technology of electrical, electronics, and that. If you have time, and if there is no breach of IP, actually.
No, there is no, like, say, it can be, it is just a normal presentation. Can I recommend Santosh one thing? Can we have one session sometime, so that I will explain it to specifically, it would be relevant to electrical field, and you can also join. Is
Yes,
that okay?
certainly.
Because see,
Certainly.
look, if I give you an overview, might not be, because I think you being a technical engineer also, but you could understand a lot of things when we had a brief talk, like, say, you were talking about the aircraft and everything. But
Yeah, yeah.
there are different applications, but we are exploring into railway ministry also. I'll brief you that, and we can see, like, and I'll explain also on a core part so that people will understand. Rather than giving brief idea, I will explain it in a proper way
Sure.
so that at least electrical engineer would understand it, where the world is going, at least in the protection and monitoring field. I'm
Sure,
ready to
sure.
1 hour session for that. If it is
Oh,
okay.
excellent, excellent. We would like to listen. I hope, Ketan, if you don't mind, you can
Yes, sir.
plan a session.
Okay, let's wrap up this session with a vote of thanks of Jagruti Khatter. Hello, Jagruti. You are there?
Yes. Mm. Hello everyone. I am Jagruti and I am here to present a vote of thanks for today's webinar. I would like to thank our today's speaker, Mr. Nitin Mahajan sir, for enlightening us with their knowledge. Today's webinar was full of knowledge and interesting things. It gave us deep insights into the topic, and I'm pretty sure that this precious knowledge that Mr. Mahajan sir gave us will definitely help us in our future. I would also like to thank Mr. Santosh sir. I would like to thank our DBAA team who really worked hard to make this event successful. Also, thanks to all the students who are present here for paying their attention and learning. Thank you all.
Thank you, one and all. Dear
Thank you.
Nitin, thank you.
Thank you all and take care. Take care of your health. Right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Santosh
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you,
See you again.
sir.
Bye,
Yes, sir.
Bye, Santosh.
bye, bye.